any minute. Going live, it says. Huh. I'm live. On Movie Crap Live. Damn. This is crazy. What? Messing with the mic. The mic's like not... There we go. The mic keeps moving away from me. That's quite strange. But it is Saturday night. It is time for Movie Crap Live for me to talk about the latest. Oh, I can hear me.
I'm live.
Oh.
On Movie Crap.
You probably heard me messing with the mic there. Let me send out the tweet. A lot of weird people are trending on Twitter. I'm not sure what that's about. Is everyone just bored? Is that how that... Anne Frank's trending? Clearly history is going in the right way. Austin, Club Soda, Jordan Salafalo. Thank you, Austin, for posting Izzy's Twitch stream. Courtney, ToonJ723, Ace the Wind Rider, Bruce Parker, Nathaniel Fogo, William Ellman, Ryan Walterson, Disco Spider, Zane Powers. I think I've said I do not have a letterbox. I have like this YouTube channel. You should check it out. Anyway, alright, Twitter, go away. We're here. We're live. How's your day, Jim? I'm doing great, Cornbread. Thank you so much for asking. This is going to be an interesting show, but first off, let me... I wonder... Oh, well. Hey! What's up? It's Movie Crap Live. It's me, Jim. How's it going? I hope there's not a delay. I switched to Izzy. Now I see Izzy, but now I see me on my thing. I hope you all are doing wonderful this Saturday night in quarantine as we keep going. And yeah. Oof. Oh, wow. It's coming in a little jaggedy. Oh, well. Let's just hope it works out for today. Anyway, I hope you all are having a great Saturday in quarantine. Or most of you in quarantine. I'm not sure exactly. But I hope you're all doing great. Thank you all very much for being here. Anytime you're here on a Saturday night, it is very appreciated. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. First off, you should check out Izzy's stream. It is her drawing. I guess it's our... Or she's drawing all sorts of stuff, but you can watch her while you watch me talk, basically, which should be cool. And Izzy's an amazing artist and an awesome friend, so you should check that out. And Austin, thank you for posting it. Again, I was like, I need to have the link so I can do it, but Austin's done it for me, which is very nice of you. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I think every week in quarantine is a crazy week, except for Forever Atheist, who's eating snacks outside, which is, I guess, as the kids say, a mood. Oh, you got to make a song in the Eddie Vedder voice. That's cool, Grunge Sickness. Let's move this over that way. Why not? As wonderful as my camera angles are with all this. Yeah, so this week's been pretty cool. Survived. Haven't put out as much stuff because I'm working on this How Did This Bomb, which is a movie that kind of means a lot. I realized it was more personal, and I shot it a while ago and I never edited it, and I'm sort of glad I'm finally doing that, and it's taking a while, but I sort of want to make it as perfect as it can. Also, I got to show Sophie her second Godzilla movie this week, Godzilla vs. Mothra, or I'm just learning a lot of people call it Mothra vs. Godzilla, which I find bizarre. But when I put it in my Criterion box set thing, I found out that in the Criterion box set, very few of those movies have the English dubs, and I was going to eject it, and I actually have an English dub of that somewhere. So I went, okay, I'm going to get that. And she was like, really, she didn't cry. She was very like appropriate and said, no, Dad, I want to watch it. And I go, no, but it's in a different language. She said, it's fine. So, here we go. Ransam Film says, thanks for a note on his Honest Critic. You should check out that on his channel. And he's got a Red Bull to drink with me. Thank you very much. And thank you for the super chat. And that was the first super chat of the night. And cheers to you. Thank you. Just what I needed. All right. So I played the, we watched it, and then she watched the entire thing in Japanese, jumping around. She loved Godzilla vs. Mothra. I think is one of the best ones. I don't know how it ranks outside of like the first Japanese cut is really great. I really don't know all of the things with that, but I've always loved Godzilla vs. Like, personally, that's like one I watched a lot as a kid, and I remember a lot of them. Like, I watched, but I don't remember anything about them. But yeah, so she watched an entire Godzilla movie in Japanese, which was crazy. I don't know if I'll do that again. That was a unique circumstance, having a 3-year-old watch an entire film in Japanese, but it was cool that she did it. So subs for stub argument is fucking over as far as I'm concerned, because she could sit through it, although I don't think she understood anything they were saying, unless she knows Japanese that I'm not aware of. Is it on Shark Boy and Lava Girl? What, the dub, the Japanese dub? I don't know. That's an interesting point. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. Thank you very much for your super chat as well. But yeah, sorry there's no video this Friday. I guess I should promote and say the video I'm working on, I'm trying to have either do a premiere thing. I've never done that before. Like a premiere type, those premiere things, or it'll just come out at 11 o'clock on Tuesday. I'm not sure exactly. I don't want to reveal what movie it is, but I've already reviewed it in the past year. And that's all I'll say. I think that's everything. Oh, Saber hit 1 million. That was pretty amazing. I can't believe Saber Sparks hit 1 million subscribers. I thought it would happen in the summer, and then it like kept building and building. So it's like amazing that I get to be a part of that channel, and it's amazing that Saber. Congratulations to him. The cartoon creators finally broke through that barrier, went platinum, as they say. And yeah, I think that's everything. I just wanted, before we get started, thank you for the super chats already, but I wanted to say as well, this show and pretty much everything I do is predominantly funded and supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show or through my Patreon, which you can find a link for in the description of this video. So, and I have a lot of cool stuff like commentary videos and postcards, and you get to have more power at the movie review vote and everything like that. So if you would like to help support, this channel and everything I do, that is a great way to do it, as well as the super chats. And I appreciate it if you can. Hey, Jim Gizriel. Hey, Eric Peralta. Ransom Film. I don't know if that John Waters thing is up, but if it is up, you should let me know. But yeah, when that segment is up with Ransom Film, you should check it out. Anyway, let's get into this. It's going to be an interesting show. I'm actually going to have a picture segment. I'm going to do a Netflix recommendations. That's going to be a newer thing I'm going to do because I know people are looking for content to watch. I'll get into my theories about that. And I'm going to review the Sam Raimi directed Quibi episodes of the 50 States of Fright with the Golden Arm. But more on that later. First, let's get into our first thing to talk about today, which is, as I hope you're watching. Let's see, what's Izzy doing right now? I can't really hear Izzy, but oh, she's drawing herself. She's looking as beautiful as ever there. Anyway, she's good at drawing herself. Well, she's a great artist, so that's why. Anyway, whoa, okay, feeling a little. Need some water first. Okay. So, I hope this pandemic ends in a Quibi. Nice Monsters review. Alright, so, San Diego Comic-Con was canceled this year. It is absolutely not happening at all. There's no virtual convention. There is no kind of streaming thing or anything like that. It is just flat out canceled, which was kind of a surprise considering that all other conventions have done that. Ransan Film asked, from a super chat, did I go to film school? Yes, I did. I went to the School of Visual Arts. Cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat there. I'm a little surprised by I know you're drawing us, Izzy. I was just saying that I know you're drawing the thing because we're doing an animation project that's going to be really awesome, and I'm very excited by it. Oh, we look classy as fuck right there. All right. I feel like I'm a little loose again. Every Friday night, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, the whole pressure of the week is like gone. So I'm like, more like down to just chill. So San Diego Comic-Con was canceled. They're entirely skipping this year. This is kind of a surprise because I think San Diego Comic-Con could do some virtual stuff, could use that weekend, but it's interesting that they're just like, no, we're not doing that at all. I wouldn't be surprised if someone comes up with a rival virtual convention that weekend and steals the spotlight. They're basically like, I mean, maybe they realized the studios weren't going to go, and having large gatherings like that apparently is going to take a while to build up to, especially with the kind of opening up plans that they're doing. It seemed like conventions weren't going to make it. A lot of people are already talking about if New York Comic Con is going to happen. I don't really think at this point that is a possibility, but they have not canceled as of right now. I feel like New York Comic Con, if New York Comic Con does happen, they might have to have a lot of sort of rules and everything like that. Oh, hey, there he is. Hey, Saber, Jim, my friend, you're my favorite Twitch girl. But real talk though, what's the first thing you want to do once quarantine is over? It's from Saber Spark. Thank you. That is a very generous super chat, Mr. Saber Sparks, Mr. Saber, whatever. Cheers to you. Thank you very much. To be honest, I was thinking today, I just would like to have like Chinese food, because my wife's not into Chinese food and it kind of smells, and I don't want to do that to everyone. I would like to do that. Thank you very much. This is very generous of you, Saber. I would like to have Chinese food. I would like to go to a movie theater, obviously. I would like to have Dollar Pizza again for my spot, because that is closed. I know that doesn't sound like the healthiest thing to do right now in terms of germs and everything, knowing those places, but I still want to do it. I would like to ride the subway again, but to be honest, I don't think about what I would do once it's over. I just think about wanting things to open up in a sense of sort of normalcy, because to be real, I guess, because my daughter's like stuck here and I feel like she would love to play with her friends, and I was thinking I wouldn't mind so much if I'm stuck at home doing my job and everything like that, if she could just like go to daycare and I knew it was safe. I think that would be preferable, not to be a bummer. I'm sorry, that might be lame of me to go there, but that's like sort of how I think of it. But anyway, I'm sorry, I think Saber wanted a fun thing. But I would like to go to the Dollar Pizza Chinese food. Anyway, so San Diego Comic-Con is canceled. Arctic Dogs wishes it was Norm of the North. I don't know about that Ransom film, but in a way, yes. Cheers to you. Thank you everyone for the support and for the super chats. It is very appreciated. Thank you, Ransom film, and thank you again, Saber Sparks. It's very nice of you. You surprised me. I didn't know you were here. He's coming out sneak attack on me. All right. So, but anyway, the other thing that's sort of messing, and I've heard this not officially, I've not heard this on a news thing, but I've talked to people who work at some of these convention centers. They've told me that before they let these convention centers open again for conventions, as they're being used in most cities as sort of hospitals, they're going to have to fully clean them, and that's going to be a process. So it's just going to be a while. I think in terms of conventions, I think they would, if there's suddenly a cure or a vaccine, we could see that happening. But I don't think that, especially the larger ones, I think are kind of gone for the year. It's getting real in the stream tonight. Sorry. All right. So, hey, this is all right. Oh, Izzy, we should have a stream where we just eat Chinese food. I think that would be great. All right. So, moving on to Disney moved to their two animated films. I sort of suggested this could happen, and then it happened. Soul is taking Maya, what's it? Raya. Wow. Why did I say Maya? Raya and the Dragon, whatever it is moving that, is giving Soul Raya's date. Raya is moving to March 12th, 2021, which was supposed to be a Disney live action movie date. People think it was Peter Pan. It didn't have an official title. It was just like untitled Disney live action date, as they do to just place marker it. That's what they think. But since that film has been delayed in production, who even knows what? Sorry, that was gross. Who even knows what that was going to be and where that is? It doesn't seem like there's any word on films that are currently in production and what those dates could be. There is expected to be delays there. But Soul having November 20th is a big deal. And here's what I'm going to say about that. I'm so down for Jim and Izzy eat Chinese. Oh my god, that should be the first. That should be the first post when things are starting to open up. That should be the first stream. But the thing is, to do that, my wife would have to be out that night, because there's no way I'm going to be, because this is in my bedroom, if you didn't know, and there's no way my wife is going to let me eat stinky ass Chinese food in our bedroom late at night. Like, the Red Bull smell is, I can cover that, but the Chinese food I get, that is funky. That's fucking stinky shit right there. All right. Ransom Film with another super chat. Favorite Bond? Mine is Timothy Dalton. I also love Lazenby. Those are good choices. Living Daylights is a great Bond movie, as is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Are both great. You know, interesting fact before I move back. This is such a scattered stream, but whatever. Interesting fact about Living Daylights that you probably didn't know. I'll drink the thing after this. Is, for real, did you know paintball mode in GoldenEye is a reference to the opening of The Living Daylights, where they do a paintball montage? No one talks about that, but it's true. I don't know why no one... There's so many Bond references. There's obvious ones like that you can point out, but there's a lot of hidden Bond references in in GoldenEye. I don't think it's whipped. It's just, you know, you live with someone and... Shut up, Izzy. Why'd you do that? Anyway, all right, let's move on. Cheers to you, Red Sample. Did everyone know about that reference? I don't think they do. All right. So, Soul being on November 20th is a big deal. Pixar has not really put a good high priority movie in the November release date for a long time. Part of this is because of the success of Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo was considered, like, all Pixar came out in November until Finding Nemo was a huge hit. And then the DVD was another huge hit when it came out at Christmas. So thus why they've pretty much done that ever since. But the thing is, this moving and it being, you know, it's a Pete Docter movie. It'll probably get some Oscar nominations, things like that. It being in November increases its chances to get a Best Picture nomination if, and I'm assuming this is a big if, the Oscars go as planned this year, which has been discussed as otherwise, but the movie industry is acting like it could. So what I'm saying here is that there's a better chance. This works out very well for Soul, because Soul could end up getting, you know, the first, you know, and I think, is that Toy Story 3 the last animated film to get nominated for Best Picture, I think? It could possibly do that, especially with less movies and a prime award season release, because that is right as award season hits. So if the Oscars go as planned, Soul is going to do really well. If the Oscars don't go as planned, Soul is fucked. But that's a whole different thing. Maya and the Last Dragon, I think, or Raya and the Last Dragon, we'll see what happens with that, but I think that's a good release date, March, for that, because but it's kind of sad because that was a different kind of newer animation director, I believe. It was a different place for the studio. I think it would have worked in terms of promoting new voices in the animation studio and things like that. But unfortunately, because of the way things are, they couldn't do that. I understand why they do that. It makes more sense, but it's going to hold back everything like that. Spongebob has been pushed back again, but only a week. I think a lot of people were like, it's moved, and it's like not as majorly as you think. It was moved from July 31st to the next Friday of August 7th, if I have that right. I think I have that right. Anyway, so moving on, we're going to do a bunch of theater stuff and talk about AMC. And then also I have a thing where I talk about, so I don't know Dune very well, but my dad like loves Dune and knows a lot about it. And so I literally had him tell me what he thinks of each of the pictures, because I don't know shit from Shinola. So it's like I had him write a long email. So it'll be later on in the show. I think there's going to be pictures in this show, guys. It's going to be crazy. All right, so there's a projected thing, and Cinemark brought this up originally. They were saying they want movie theaters to open in July. The first movie to come out under this would be Tenet. I forget what the date is because I didn't write it down, but it's mid-July. The other major Hollywood film is The Purge 5, which isn't as big of a deal as Tenet, obviously, but that is a major Hollywood production. Trump's plan and the plans that are rolling out, the government's plan basically is for movies to maybe open up in late June. Now, if you're wondering, since there's barely anything on the release date, get real Chinese food. P.F. Chang's doesn't count. Motherfucker, I ain't getting P.F. Chang's. What the... There's no P.F. Chang's near me. I am offended that you would even suggest such a thing, sir. I have so many... I mean, maybe I'd go to #1 Chinese food restaurant, but other than that, no. There's a place... If we're doing this, I'm going to the nice Chinese food place that you can't even get delivery from, and you got to walk there, and I'll do it there if that's what we're doing. Izzy, we'll talk about this later. Anyway, sorry, Austin. I love you. Cheers to you. We haven't talked about the Discord. Go to the Discord. Sorry. Austin St. Powers, do an amazing job with the Discord. I know Niji Kichu's helping out. Ryan Walterson. It's a great discussion forum, and you can ask me questions if I don't get to you after that. Hey. All right. Cheers to everyone. Can't believe I forgot about the Discord, man. All right. So, yes, that's the plan. Movie theaters to open in June. What is probably going to happen? They are talking about all sorts of re-releases. There's been talk of the Back to the Future trilogy playing in the Back to the Future trilogy playing in theaters. I know in China they did a 4K restoration of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on how you feel about it. And all 4 of the Avengers movies. I haven't heard those plans in America, but that's what China did. I didn't look up if China opened up again or what the deal is. There is a plans. There is a. What was I going to say? Oh, part of the plan is to open with less capacity, so it might be the 50 people, or there'd be a seat buffer between each person, something like that. Randstand Film has another super chat. Thank you very much. Saw Crybaby, and also AMC better open. I have a list. I think everyone wants AMC to open. Cheers to you. I'm going to Red Dragon 2. The place has to be good. They made a sequel restaurant. That's funny. But basically, movie theaters are in this weird. I'm excited for this Chinese thing now. AMC theaters are in all theaters are in this weird situation. They're sort of trying to figure it out, but it seems like the government is going to give them some more money. What happened with AMC recently is they basically said they have $500 million. They're able to pay the bills till Thanksgiving if this goes on that long. And there's a real possibility that we'll have kind of a limited amount of people to be allowed in each theater up until Thanksgiving, possibly past if the coronavirus blows up again, and then we have to go back in quarantine and everything like that. So they just reassured everyone. Creditors and Wall Street kind of rewarded them, by the way, by saying, like, we're happy, we're good, we're not going to keep destroying your credit rating and everything like that. And also, AMC collapsing, and why I think a lot of movie people bring up, is they're the biggest theater chain. If they are to collapse and not open, the entire movie industry will collapse, and that's not like a joke. Like, it is a real thing, and they are kind of like such an important part to the ecosystem of the movie industry. Had AMC totally collapsed, there'd be nothing. Like, it would be a straight up devastation type of scenario. So it was important that they got it working, but it sounds like they are. I'm not sure why they didn't announce this sooner. I'm sure there was some. It sounds like it was basically a $500 million loan of some sort. They are in a weird place because they were actually trying to make their business better, and they're just starting to see profits from it right in February, which is so depressing. William Ellman. I did know this, and not a lot of people do. Okay, I'll just read it. Fun fact: the last time Leonardo DiCaprio worked with a female director was in 1995 in Total Eclipse. I am aware of that. A lot of people give him shit for that. Cheers to you. Thank you very much, William Ellman. Hey Will, how's it going? He said, "This is so petty, but why is Google saying I can rent Bad Trip on Prime, and Prime says I can't rent it on their platform?" I don't know. That might just be because dates are so weird. Google might be confused because I've noticed some properties and stuff aren't updating their dates when you search them on Google when the thing comes up. So that actually might be the issue there. That's what I'm assuming. Anyway, cheers to you, Will. Nice to see you. And thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for all the super chats tonight. I very much appreciate it. All right. AMC has done a good job at kind of rebounding, but yeah, they set up A-List. They redid the theaters. They put in new projectors. They bought theaters. They were expanding the business in positive ways, and it's really unfortunate that happened to them. But they have found a way to bounce back. I haven't heard as much about Alamo Drafthouse or Regal. It seems like AMC's kind of clogging up all of the news cycle right now. But we'll see what's going on with them. It doesn't sound like anyone's going to necessarily buy AMC, but I wouldn't be surprised. Again, Regal and AMC are very cozy. The other interesting thing is drive-ins are doing really well. There was a report in Hollywood Reporter today about how drive-in business is exploding. I know Rachel Wagner, who's a friend of mine on Twitter, great critic, she saw Jurassic Park at a drive-in. People love it. If you can go to a drive-in, if there's a drive-in near you, I would seriously suggest going to one if you can. If you've never been to one, it's a great thing. I don't have a car nor know of a drive-in that's close. But apparently some drive-ins, like right when tickets are going on sale, they're completely selling out of the tickets because they're so popular right now. Just a normal type of thing. So it's really cool that drive-ins are this popular right now. I think it's awesome, and I'm glad it's like helping the movie industry in some case. I'll get back to that in a second. Saber said, one more, if you can, do something nice for Sophie with this one. Tell her Uncle Saber said hi, aw, and keep being strong throughout this rough patch of history. Love you, bro. Thank you very much, Saber. I definitely will do something nice. I'm gonna get her something with that. I don't know what it is. I will. Maybe I'll update everyone next week. Thank you very much, man. That's very nice of you. And 1 million subs, baby. 1 million fucking subs for Saber. He deserves it. Very proud of what that channel's doing. Very proud of that guy. Thank you very much for 2 awesome super chats. You have a great night as well, sir. Cheers. I might need to take an earlier pee break. I'm warning you now. All right. I just want to get through all the theater stuff, and then we'll move on later. But drive-ins are exploding. I've heard Jurassic Park is playing a lot of drive-ins. Check your drive-ins. I've actually heard very little about Trolls playing drive-ins. A lot of people have questioned, has Trolls played in any theaters? If anyone, by the way, knows of Trolls playing in any theaters, I would like to know. I have not seen any pictures of it actually doing so, but they're playing more classic titles. Even internationally, people are saying, like, our drive-in had this old 90s movie that no one cared about, and we had a packed house just because people want to get out to do something. A lot of these drive-ins are saying that they know they can't do this forever. Just play whatever the fuck they have. But a lot of them are trying to get the best stuff they can. So I hope studios will support that and so forth. Ryan, that was a great quote. Saber's super chats cost more than any Dingo Pictures movie. Nice, Ryan. So one guy I want to talk about before we move on to other stuff, and we're talking about box office stuff, is Scott Mendelson, who writes for Forbes. He is a really good writer in terms of box office, and he really doesn't, he's not like, I think because he's not the coolest film reporter in the world, but he's been writing a lot of like really good articles and bringing up really good points. One is he feels like movie theaters are coming to this place where he feels like they'll be more like what arcades were, where arcades you'd show off the coolest games, and games would be more detailed when they were in arcades before they went to the home console, and then when that shifted, the home console sort of took over the gaming industry. He thinks that shift is about to happen with the film industry. And since he is a really knowledgeable analyst, I would actually go, oh fuck, if he thinks that, then maybe. He also brought up how big Tenet is for the film industry, not only because it's a Chris Nolan movie, and it's a big movie, and it's a summer movie, and I get all those things, also because of the IMAX screens, which is really changing how the release calendar is. Because if you're wondering, why doesn't Tenet just move to Christmas or something, it sort of can't, because certain movies reserve IMAX screens, and when you move a movie, like Top Gun was shot on IMAX, has IMAX agreements, is getting all the IMAX screens. So Dune, for example, is not getting any IMAX screens because of that. Because it's not going to have it, or it might have it for like a weekend or something, because Top Gun's getting all of them. So Tenet is the best thing to do because it can show off what movies can do. It'll play in all the biggest show places, and it'll get all of those to itself. It's kind of the perfect thing, and he brings up a good point. But he also brings up that IMAX screens are like such a reserved studio thing that we actually can't move them too much, because if certain movies were shot in IMAX and really want to show that off, and not a ton are, then IMAX isn't going to let other things take that spot. So that's going to be a continued thing. Anyway, moving on. So Trolls 2, Trolls World Tour, whatever the fuck, opened on VOD last weekend. The thing about reporting numbers here is tricky, because we're basically just trusting what Universal says. We kind of have to. I've heard everything from 30 to 50 million is what it made last weekend. Here's the thing about that. There are no setups, and I'm very serious about that. There are no setups right now to accurately count the money VOD is making. So there's no way to accurately report any of this. Universal can give us numbers, but it's sort of like when Netflix gives us numbers. We're not given the access to kind of analyze them. No outside organizations are able to, so take that with a grain of salt. Also understand, Trolls, Universal wants this experiment to work, so they are not going to downplay it or disregard it or say it's worse or anything like that, because they want it to appear to have been successful. So to my understanding, it was, but I'm curious, like, what is it doing second weekend or something? Because 50 million's fine, and I get, like, they had to release it on VOD. It'll be curious if they try to do that with anything else, but we'll see about that. But yeah, take it. If anyone's saying it was a huge hit or something like that, possibly, but we probably won't even know for a while. And even if we do know, there's no accurate way to kind of report it. So yeah, I mean, I guess it seemed to last weekend, but is anyone still talking about it? Like Thursday and Friday, did you see much about Trolls other than, maybe what it made in VOD sales? So we'll see about that. All right. So now to talk about, I'm kind of hitting everyone with the big stuff early, but I think that's cool. Now to hit everyone with the Disney news. Okay. So Bob Iger, Trolls 2 in Central Park. Nice, Ryan. Bob Iger has taken back CEO from Bob Chapek. Now, to be clear, I think it was never fair for Bob Chapek to be being the CEO at the beginning of this. This was his first month. That sort of sucked. So I think it was probably a better move. They seemed to executively, they put him on the board of directors, things like that, Chapek, but it seemed like they didn't really know, it's an unprecedented thing, and Iger coming back makes sense. It was too unfair to that guy. Like, I know he's a rich corporate executive, but for real, like, this is so unprecedented. Just let Iger steer the ship. Disney's losing apparently $30 million a day at this point because all their parks are closed. They're not generating any revenue, everything like that. They are actually, Netflix is actually worth more than Disney now because Disney keeps losing money and Netflix is obviously gaining money. So the only time that, like, Tiger King is making way more than the studio that made The Jungle Book, which is insane. But things that Disney is really changing, and that Netflix thing, actually, I won't just let that go. The Netflix thing, the thing about that is that really shows how powerful Netflix is right now, because they basically are, people don't talk about, I'm watching Hulu, I'm watching Prime. They're like, I'm watching Netflix. That's how important Netflix is to entertainment. People don't say I'm watching streaming, they say I'm watching Netflix, and that's what I've heard most people doing. And that shows you the power of Netflix. I've seen a lot more Despicable Me talk because it's the number one thing streaming on Netflix. So it's just an insane thing right now. So Disney has also said they're going to have less office space, which I'm sure you won't care about, but they're also saying they won't make pilots if the show is not going to air. They're not going to do extra expensives. They're talking about cutting costs of things. They're also talking about checking temperatures before you go into their theme parks, everything like that, but they're definitely going to be cutting costs, looking at the expense of certain things. I wouldn't be surprised if projects that you heard were announced are canceled. I really haven't heard of many projects getting canceled, which I'm surprised by, but there are definitely going to be some lost media stuff going on with this. But it seems like Disney's really uncertain right now. They're not sure how to get back any sort of money. I mean, Disney Plus is doing fairly well, I will say. I know a lot of parents that have it, but it doesn't make as much as, say, like a big film release or something like that. So they're really, like, I think that's their only stream of revenue. And this is a company that had cruise ships and however many theme parks and huge movies in theaters, and now they have like one thing, and they're just like probably panicking. I mean, they are panicking, and Netflix is kicking their ass. Now, the other thing, to Disney Plus news, Mandalorian is putting out a making of Season 1 documentary coming to Disney Plus on May the 4th, for May the 4th be with you. You might think, like, why would anyone really care? Mandalorian's cool, but why is that a big deal? It is a big deal because they use this cool technology where they never really went on location. They shot all that on a set using these cool video screens that kind of, like, show, like, crazy, like, desert vistas and, like, all this stuff they did, like, through these amazing, it's called stagecraft technology, and through these screens would, like, digitally figure out where the camera was and the correct angle. So, like, all those alien worlds were, like, playing behind the actors and everything like that. So there weren't as many sets made. It was more like there were sets, but it was all digitally TV screens behind them and stuff. So I'm actually really curious how they made that. That sounds fascinating. The other thing is Artemis Fowl has been announced. It'll be on Disney Plus June 12th. I've actually even seen Facebook ads for it. I haven't seen TV ads, but I've seen Facebook ads for it. So it sounds like it's real. Of all the films that are going straight to streaming that were supposed to go to theaters, this is the first one with a date announced. I haven't heard anything about My Spy unless someone in the chat has or Lovebirds. But I expect we're going to hear those dates coming soon, and I also expect we'll see more movies being bought and sent straight to streaming, but we'll see about that. Yes. All right, what's next? Okay. Let's show the first picture. This is not part of my dad's thing. Hold on. Let me do okay. Hold on. Okay. Wow, it's like I wanted to show this crazy Looney Tunes poster. I posted on Twitter earlier this week, but it is quite... Hold on. I'm like sizing it. I should have done this before. See, I'm not used to the picture part. Okay, here we go. Alright, so here is... Can we switch? Okay, so here is all... This is the Looney Tunes thing that is going to be on HBO Max. It looks crazy, and I'm curious about these Looney Tunes cartoons because they've been saying they've made like hundreds of these for like a long ass time, and I'm always curious like what these are going to be and how they've been developing this for so long, which just seems weird to me. But I mean, you can see everything. Like the Dover Boys are in here. I'm not sure where. Oh, up there you have like this is the designs of the new cartoons. Well, I think it's concept art, but it's like it's obviously to promote. It's to promote the cartoons coming to HBO Max. So I'm excited. I'm curious what these are going to be. It just sort of sucks that like we haven't seen any of these, and like we have, you know, they've made so many of them. Seems bizarre. So it's just like look at all. Anyway, I do have to go to the bathroom because I just drank a lot of Red Bull really quickly. So I'm gonna take a break early, and then you can look at this, I guess. And then, yeah, sorry this is earlier in the show, and I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. Ow. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so that was that's the Looney Tunes picture. Anyway, those just look really cool. I'm very hyped for that Looney Tunes cartoons on HBO Max. I'm curious about HBO Max. We really haven't heard. There are no HBO Max announcements this week, so I'm a little confused why there isn't. I thought there would be. So anyway, I will get to... Let's do some Quibi news. So here's the thing with Quibi. Last week, I said 300,000 had been downloaded at launch the first day. Suddenly that got pushed up to 1.7 million, which doesn't, math-wise, I don't know how they got there. Like, we're like 300,000 people downloading it every day. Like, I just don't buy that. But that's what they said. A piss intermission sign. I've thought I should make an intermission sign. But that doesn't make a lot of sense for how they got to 1.7. However, they have also left the top 25 most downloaded on iTunes for an app that is just launched, that is high profile as that is. That's incredibly embarrassing. There's all sorts of rumors that, you know, Quibi is going to close soon or something like that. No one knows. But it is true that Quibi is kind of not doing great. It doesn't seem like dropping so heavily, not having much hype this week at all, other than the Golden Arm thing, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure. I think Quibi's sort of hoping that everything will get back to normal and that streaming service can work, because I think it'll work better. They're hoping it'll work better, when people can, have more going on. And since everyone's just watching more long form stuff, that Quibi doesn't work right now. I think the biggest problem with Quibi ultimately, we have a super chat. Okay, for the Quibi show Dummy, Donald Logue is playing Dan Harmon. This was made by now wife Cody Heller, and her mom is Mama LaRusso from Karate Kid. That's interesting. Donald Logue is playing Dan Harmon. Oh, because Dan Harmon does have like weird sex doll things. That's interesting. Thank you very much, Austin. That's interesting. That is interesting. Okay, that was your thing? Huh. Yeah. Cool. That was interesting. Thank you for that. All right. So, but Quibi, it's just not doing very well. And I barely have watched it this week. I actually watched it. I was doing the news thing. I still support the news thing. I haven't watched the Fresh Daily since, but I did watch the Golden Arm, which I'll talk about towards the end of the show, which Sam Raimi directed, which I know you guys like Sam Raimi. We will get to him later. There was a Quibi announcement on Monday. For real. I don't know if this was just left over. I don't think you'll hear any more stuff being announced, but Rashida Jones and Robot Chicken producers are making a show called Filthy Animal. Jones will voice a character called Sunny Day, which is already a show my daughter watches about a girl who is a hairdresser with her other hairdresser girlfriends, Rox and Blair. Blair does nails and Rox does more like the business side of things, but she also does shampooing. Rox is more behind the scenes. Anyway, Sunny Day, not the greatest show, but I've seen a lot of it. Like, I could probably be how the round table is about Steven Universe. I could be about Sunny Day, but I've just chosen not to. So, I think they're just, I know Steven Universe is over, guys. Sunny Day is just right there. Anyway, don't let Sophie on Quibi. I don't think who wants to be on Quibi? I don't think that's a Quibi problem. Anyway. All right, sorry, that was my thing on Sunny Day. But anyway, this Sunny Day that Rashida Jones is going to play is a lonely, too smart for her own good suburban 12-year-old befriends Cruz, a selfish, renegade, messy, suave, adoptive cat. It's made by the Stupid Buddy Studios who make Robot Chicken. Supposedly, if Quibi exists and this actually gets made, which doesn't, I don't know about that, Rashida Jones, but whatever. All right. So, if you're wondering about Babu Frick, which I'm sure you are, man, remember Rise of Skywalker and how we all hated it? Does that feel like 17 years ago? I just think it does. Anyway, so Steven Spielberg apparently was shown a cut of Rise of the Skywalker, and instead of he probably said, "Wow, JJ, you suck." Instead, it's like, that was fucking bad. Like, holy shit, bro, you just stunk up the end of the Skywalker saga. Like, oh my god, I wish Spielberg was just like, it was like, look, I made Ready Player One, and that wasn't great, but like, I have the wherewithal to know, like, this is like hot garbage, regardless. So Babu Frick, he apparently asked what happened to Babu Frick, and then they that part where Babu Frick shows up, they kind of like inserted it. They that was a reshoot thing because Steven Spielberg said something. So I think it's funny. Babu Frick and the light speed jumping feels so Rick and Morty to me. It really does. It really feels like someone was like, hey, the Rick and Morty's popular. What can we do like the Rick and Morty? And that's feels like, although that is a good sequence. Anyway, I scrolled through Rise of Skywalker recently. Guess what? It's still awful. Wow, I have two Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell wants to be in movies, guys. All right. Anyway, Mallrats 2 is still in pre-production, and it will apparently cover the coronavirus. I know, guys. We were all worried if Mallrats 2 would talk about the coronavirus. Kevin Smith, one of our most political filmmakers, doesn't shy away from things like the coronavirus. Is that true? Babu Frick is voiced by Moaning Myrtle? That's interesting. I didn't know that, Ryan. That's cool. But also, Bruce Campbell will be in Mallrats 2. I still need to see Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I think that'd be a cool review if I do. I haven't seen it, so maybe it won't be a cool review. Anyway, Mallrats 2 will cover the coronavirus. Next. Now, this, I think, is one of the worst kept secrets in all of Hollywood. Sam Raimi has confirmed that he's doing Doctor Strange 2. I think, like, I've even talked about, like, hey, pre-production on Doctor Strange 2 is happening. Like, this, we've always known about Doctor Strange 2. So I'm surprised because it was announced, just was never confirmed, but it just felt like it was just, they weren't going to confirm it because there's so much else going on. But he finally confirmed it, and he's officially doing it. I think this is a great choice because of everything. He loves Ditko clearly, and Ditko, with his Spider-Man 2 especially, but all his Spider-Man movies, and Ditko was a major creative force in Doctor Strange. I feel like he can do a lot of cool stuff with that. It's Sam Raimi's first big movie since forever. He knows Feige from working on Spider-Man. I think it's a good avenue for him to take because obviously, they wanted a horror director. Sam Raimi's like one of the greatest horror directors of all time. He knows how to work with a studio. He also knows how to do his own thing. And I feel like Feige knows having Sam Raimi come in could breathe a lot of life into it. So it's also like he sort of set up the blueprints, not because of the success, but if you look at those early Spider-Man movies, they're effectively what the MCU would sort of do later. So I think it's a great choice. I've already said it's a great choice, but I'm saying it again. Bruce Campbell said he wants to be in a villain. I think it would be great if Bruce Campbell had cameos. I've often said Bruce Campbell should just do the Stan Lee thing in all of the MCU movies now. Like, Stan Lee can't be in them. Bruce Campbell should be the cameo for now on. I think that would be cool, but whatever. Does anyone remember? Nathaniel Fogo's right. Would anybody remember that one? All right, I will talk about, let's do 2 things and then we'll go through my dad's email, basically. Elmo's Playdate played this week. I think it was about 7 o'clock. I forget which day, but it played across multiple Warner cable channels. I think it is actually a really great special. It's about a half hour. If you have any kid or anyone you know who has a kid, needs something for them to do, it's a great way to get them moving and dancing and having fun. And it's a really short, it's like Sesame Street's a half hour now, but it's a really great episode of Sesame Street. I've been singing their praises since quarantine, but they've done it again. I love Elmo's Playdate. It's wonderful. There's not much to really review about it other than I think it's a great way to have kids get out their energy. Sophie was jumping up and down the whole time. We watched it again today, and she was jumping and dancing and things like that. So if anyone you know is a parent, try to get a copy of Elmo's Playdate. It's wonderful. It's amazing. Ryan, of course, helped me out. Was like, you should see this special, and he was 100% right. And I told him he had to do all the things Elmo told him to do when he watched it. He said he did. I hope he did. Also, Ryan deserves an extra special thanks for this movie crap because he hit me up with a bunch of news stories this week, and he was very helpful, as he always is. Ryan's an amazing guy. But Elmo's Playdate, I think, is a great special. So if you just need to get up and dance, and you do silly dances and make yourself feel great, I think. Good night, Adrian. I didn't say Adrian Sierra was there. Good night. Thank you for being here, Adrian Sierra. It's a great special, and I think something we honestly really needed right now with all that. Oh, Izzy's drawn. Oh, look at that. There's the background. Anyway, hope you're doing well, Izzy. We'll have to figure out that Chinese food thing. I think that would be cool. All right, but Elmo's Playdate is wonderful. All right, next up, I'll do a couple of things. J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot finally announced something out of their Time Warner or Warner Media deal. They haven't announced any movies. They haven't announced any thing like that, but they've announced 3 shows that will be on HBO Max. One's called Overlook, which is about stories that happen at the Overlook Hotel. No one's sure if it's a prequel or a concurrent thing or a sequel to The Shining, but it will take place at the Overlook Hotel. It is not anything that has been developed before about The Shining that you may have heard about. It is its own separate thing, apparently. They're also... I should watch Elmo's Playdate. I don't dance that good. It's not that fun. I just sat there and she danced. I'm tired always. Justice League Dark is also in production with Bad Robot. We had previously heard that they were doing something with Justice League Dark, but this is official. They're doing something, and also something called Duster, which is a 70s detective show and is an original property, and J.J. Abrams will be writing it, so of course it'll be fucking terrible. Also, the movie Snake Eyes, the spin-off from G.I. Joe, was going to be coming out on October 23rd, has moved to November 18th. It sounds like it's still coming out. I'm not sure. I guess it's pretty shot. They've shot most of it. But yeah, Hey, I'm not done. Don't worry about the Green Hornet reboot. I'm talking about it later. Do you want me? I'll talk about it now. Fuck it. Let's do it. All right, so Green Hornet. Universal announced that they're doing a new Green Hornet reboot. Believe it or not, I saw Green Hornet. The Seth Rogen one is on Netflix, actually. But this is going to be a different thing. It's going to be called Green Hornet and Kato because Bruce Lee is... I think, most people just saw the Green Hornet show for Bruce Lee anyway, so it makes sense to do that. But we'll see about that. I sort of don't get why Hollywood is so obsessed with the fucking Green Hornet. It's not like it's that big of a property. Even as a show, it's just a show you just waited for Bruce Lee to show up on. So I'm sort of like, just call it Kato and like some white dude and we'd all be happy. I just don't get like why we're doing this again. It doesn't sound interesting to me whatsoever. And I didn't really like the Seth Rogen thing. And they picked Michelle Gondry, and it was such a bad choice. They need to find someone who would actually love the Green Hornet to do it and find something interesting to do with that property. But I think it was pretty hard to do that because if you don't have Bruce Lee or you don't have someone comparable, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Anyway, I think it would just be called Kato to me. It was called the Kato Show in the East. See, the East knew what was up. The East knew what was up. All right. So, oh man, did I forget my water? Damn it. That's an issue. Sorta need water. I've already gotten up. I'm gonna go get my water real quick. Sorta need that. Fun fact, hold on. The fun fact, the only handsome puppeteer I've met in person is a Canadian puppeteer named Trish Lepper. Oh, okay. Worked on Frog Rock and Sesame Street. Didn't know that. Alright, I'm gonna go get water. Then we're gonna talk about one thing and then do the Dune thing. All right, hold on. Sorry again. I'm getting up a lot. Ugh. Okay. Sorry again. I forgot my golden arm. I like that. No, I just was like, I need some water. I'm talking. How do people do these streams? Did other people like not pee or something, or not have bladders, or same powers? That was mean. Anyway, just bring your pitcher. I should. Anyway, so Capone, the trailer for the follow-up. Finally, the new movie from Josh Trank, the director who made the Fantastic Four movie that you forgot but was also terrible, has finally come back with Capone. Watch out for snakes. Hey, there you go. Thank you, Austin. I like that reference. I got that reference. And this Red Bull is dead. Alright, yes, it's the Capone trailer. It's about Al Capone being in this kind of like big mansion when he's older and whether he is still mentally capable. Thank you for the super chat, Austin. And he is still mentally capable and Tom Hardy's playing him. It doesn't look amazing. I'm sort of curious to see Josh Trank sort of come back. I liked Chronicle. I don't think I like Chronicle enough to still be talking about him, but I still do like Chronicle. We'll see what's going to happen with Capone But it was interesting to finally see a trailer of it. It doesn't look amazing. I'm kind of curious if it could work. It's an interesting enough concept, and Tom Hardy could be cool at it. So we'll see about that. All right. So yeah, let's just do this. All right. So I'm going to. This is going to be a lot of pictures. Because I was like, you know what? I want to talk about Dune, and my dad's like a Dune expert. I might not be able to see what's going on in the chat during this. So, my dad, I don't know if you guys knew this, really likes Dune. Like a lot. Like a lot. No, that's not it. Where's the picture? Ah, here we go. Now I'm going to try to... Like, my dad loves Dune. Like, it's like his thing. He loves it. Like, a lot. It's like his thing. He's always embarrassed that I don't know nothing about this Dune stuff. And yeah. Alright, so let me just show the first picture. I don't know if you guys are into Dune, but I thought let's just have Jim's dad talk about Dune, and I'll have him write. Almost turned off my Wi-Fi. That would most likely end the stream. Wow, my dad wrote a lot. He said most likely I will not read all this. He's right. I'm sleepy. Gonna only watch now. Okay, that's fine. Okay, he said the movie. This is what my dad said. We'll see. I might sum up stuff. I'm sleepy. That's fine. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for drawing so much, Izzy. Izzy's an amazing artist, BTW. So if I don't see anything in the... Anyway, he looks like the Punisher. All right. Man, he wrote a lot of stuff. I'll just write this thing. The movie is apparently showing the first half of the book being Dune, Frank Herbert's Dune. The book starts with Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, with his family and entourage on the planet Caladan. Paul's father, Duke Leo Atreides, is wow, he wrote a lot of stuff, and is the wow, okay, it's cutting off some of this. Is the ruler of Caladan. The empire as a whole is ruled by Politish Emperor Saddam. Oh my God, Dad! Whoa, what the hell? Is the political system is feudal in nature. The emperor is the overall ruler, which each planet ruled by a lord who owns an allegiance to the emperor. Sounds like a lot of political stuff happens to this. Oh my God, he's gonna hate this part. But I'll just read what he says about each thing. Zendaya is chatty. Anyway. He looks angsty. Yeah, he does. This is also Timothée Chalamet's first big movie thing. So, the first photo is of Paul Atreides of Caladan during the preparations for his move to Arrakis. I think Caladan has substantial oceans, while Arrakis is a desert planet. The ships are shuttles. Those things behind him are ships to take the Aralis with their belongings, army, etc. The large guild ships, Highlanders, for the transport to Arrakis. So basically, by the way, if you couldn't tell by how I'm most likely butchering this for anyone who likes Dune, man, he wrote a lot of stuff. All right, I don't know this book, and I've never read it. If you didn't know that, I feel like that's coming across pretty well. So, all right, so let's show this next thing. Alright, so this is another thing from... I might not do as many of these because I don't know how many of you guys are into this. But, basically... Paul is the son of Duke Leo, and he's bound concubine the Lady Jessica. Oh, that's this guy's concubine. His dad's concubine. Although Duke Leo loves Jessica, he's not married her because there's a political advantage in the Duke being available to it. Although she would prefer to be a wife, the fact that Paul is the son of a concubine does not affect his political standing, and he's the heir of Duke Leto. Leto, I guess? Okay, the first half of the book deals with the move to Arrakis, the conspiracy between the Hyrkanians and the Empire against and ends with... Okay, wow. Okay, my dad says, the one problem I have with this photo is that Lady Jessica appears to be the same age as her son Paul. That is not true, Dad. Nice to Rebecca Ferguson, though. While Jessica would appear younger than her years because of her consumption of spice, I think she looks too young here. I mean, I think Rebecca Ferguson is my age, Dad, but I don't know. This is just like you guys hearing me talk to my dad about movie stills. Is this... Okay. Alright, let's see. Anyway, I thought I'd be better at this. Okay, this is kind of interesting, I guess. Let's do... Is this one? No. Alright, maybe this segment isn't working so good. Alright, well anyway, there were Dune images, and my dad had a lot to say about it. I should have just like shot a video with him or something. But he seems to like some of it. There's some gender swapping things. He does like Oscar Isaac's in the photo that everyone's seen where he looks cool. Maybe I'll bring that up. It is literally the coolest photo of all of these. No. Dune 3. Yeah, this is not... Everyone's like... Here, there's Zendaya and the guy... Okay, I feel like I've definitely not done this well. Okay. Anyway, I'd like to thank my dad for putting into something that I did not. I screwed up myself. But, I will say, so my dad's definitely hyped. He likes certain things. He's worried about other things. He thinks Oscar Isaac looks cool. I'm curious about this movie. I will say, Denis Villeneuve is a really great sci-fi director and everything like that. Sorry. Denis Villeneuve is a great sci-fi director, and I think he'll do really well with this material. A lot of people have said this is a really dense book to go through. It seems like it from what I'm reading with... Ace the Windwriter says, tell Jim's dad we said thank you. That's very nice of you guys. I have seen the Hitchhiker's Guide movie. I wasn't that into it. It's okay, but it's not. Anyway. I'm excited for it. I think it's cool. My dad is definitely excited for it. He gave me a lot of notes there, which I didn't really get to read very much of, so I apologize to my dad for spending as much time he did on that. But I did read it before, and it is interesting, certain things, like they changed the genders of certain characters and races of certain characters and things like that. But I am curious how they're going to adapt this and make this like big entertainment, because it seems like something HBO Max is really hoping will be a huge hit. And I know it has a lot of fans, it certainly does, but will that be able to cross over and be like a thing everyone is obsessed with? It seems like there are a lot of details in it, and I think that could work more for a TV show, but I'm curious how Denis Villeneuve will do that. I might do something with my dad, like record a thing. I might record a thing that he when that comes out. I have seen David Leitch's Dune. I've usually seen the director's cut before, but I'm not huge into that. All right, so Peacock. Apparently, Peacock. Even though we saw trailers for things like the Soleil Moon Frye, Punky Brewster, and the Saved by the Bell thing, they're primarily going to launch with classic titles. This is also because of coronavirus and they couldn't finish certain things. But they're hoping this will work. It is available for certain people who have Xfinity or Comcast or whatever now. It will come out in July. But I'm curious about this streaming service because, and they won't have The Office immediately. Netflix still has The Office for now. How this is going to work and how they're going to... I like Arrival too, by the way. How they're going to launch a streaming service right now with everything. How they're going to launch a streaming service right now with everything going on. I think people will just be hungry to just try it out, so they might be able to work with that. But I'm curious about this Saved by the Bell thing because I know Zach Morris, the writer of Zach Morris's Trash, worked on it, and that makes me curious about what you could do with everything with Saved by the Bell. That I find interesting. But Peacock, I'm curious how this is going to work, so we'll see. So I mentioned Bruce Lee before. There's going to be a Criterion box set. It's going to have pretty much all the big hits, Big Boss, Game of Death, and a big restoration of Enter the Dragon. All of that will be on a Criterion box set. I'm kind of curious about getting that. I love the Godzilla box set, and I think their box sets of more genre stuff is actually really, really great because then you have it all in the thing, and it's like really beautiful, and they do great posters, and I think they do a great job with it. So, yeah, I know I've heard there are Dune productions for TV, and I remember them being good, as I recall. I don't know if you saw the Dummy trailer. That is, we mentioned it earlier. It looked really weird. It's about a woman and her sex doll who go on kind of an adventure. Anna Kendrick, and that's the Anna Kendrick. When you saw her in ads for Quibi, what they're talking about. That seems very often weird and offbeat and things, and that seemed kind of interesting to me. And the fact that the sex doll like talks and like talks about feminism and stuff like that, I think could be really cool actually. So we'll see about that. Knowing the Dan Harmon connection makes me even more curious for it. Oh man, I'm gonna have to write my dad and be like, look, I'm sorry, I didn't do a good job with that Dune thing, and he worked really hard on it. Oh well, sorry. We'll have to do something with him in Dune because I know he loves that book so much. Oh, goodbye, Cartwright. Sorry if I'm not going that late, but people get tired. You can watch it later, I guess. So I don't know if you saw this on the internet, but which I said like someone who doesn't use the internet. Disney Plus edited the movie Splash. You've seen the movie Splash. When Daryl Hannah runs into the water at the end of it, you can see her butt. Big deal. But apparently Disney Plus didn't like that, and they digitally made her hair even longer so it covers her butt, which is embarrassing. But it's made people watch Splash again. I wanted to watch Splash. It's been a bit, actually. So maybe I will. Early Tom Hanks and everything like that. So, yeah. I saw this was in the Discord channel for Movie Crap Stories, I believe, and it mentioned this movie Animal Crackers, which I never heard of before, and that it could possibly be coming out this summer. I'd never watched a trailer of this, and I finally did, and it seems very weird, and I'm half not sure, like, it looks, I mean, I will say this, much better than, like, Wonder Park or something like that, and the whole concept of people eating animal crackers and becoming animals, these people owning a circus and all this stuff, crazy concept of a movie. I sort of am with it because it's so sort of out there, but at least like understands what it is. It sounds like quite the journey of a film. So Animal Crackers might be coming out this summer. I think it is going to be kind of cool. Looks kind of cool to me. So yeah. All right. Joseph, I think it's Kaczynski, which sounds like Ted Kaczynski, but I think we did talk. You talked about Animal Crackers years. Oh, okay. Do not remember that shit. I'm sorry. It was years ago. Who knows at this point? They censored a Gargoyles episode too. Disney Plus. That sucks. All right. So Joseph Kaczynski talked about the possibility of a Tron Legacy sequel, basically saying that he feels like there's a hunger for it. He gets asked about it all the time and thinks it is one of the crown jewels in Disney's IP library. I will say this. I think here's the thing with Tron and everything with Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy is a beautiful movie, wonderful soundtrack. I don't really think the plot works very well, but I think the bigger thing with Tron is when they made Tron Legacy, and they promoted the fuck out of it for years. They really pushed Tron Legacy like no joke. But Disco Spider. Yeah, I agree about the Groucho Marx Animal Crackers thing. But it doesn't seem like they need it like they used to because they bought Marvel, they bought Lucasfilm. Like, they don't really need a Tron sequel. They don't even have a date for... That's why the Tron Legacy or Tron 3 or whatever didn't get a date because they didn't have anywhere to put it. I do think they should do something with Tron on Disney Plus. I think it's kind of unfortunate if they don't. Because I think that, like, that fan base is there. That fan base would flock to it. I think that would be a bigger deal than, let's say, Artemis Fowl. But it can't be the budget they gave Tron Legacy, I think. And I think that's kind of the issue is I'm sure that director doesn't want to come back for kind of a kind of a lesser budgeted Tron sequel. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. I don't think very much. But it's interesting that he actually talked about it at length, talked about, like, the idea of it and how it is a bigger thing. And he's interested in coming back, which is surprising, to be honest, at this point. Robert Eggers talked about The Northman, which is his kind of Viking epic thing, which is surprising. The Lighthouse actually just went on Amazon Prime. I don't think he's the right choice to do a big epic thing. If I was like running the finances for a studio, even though I love Robert Eggers, I just don't think that will do very well. But we'll see what happens with that, but he is still planning it. He's writing with like an Icelandic poet, so this sounds like a movie I would like, but it sounds like a movie that would make no money for no one. All right, so Tarantino recently opened up for this is kind of a lot of like director people's thoughts on things, but it's kind of interesting. And we have 2 things on Batman, and then we'll do an in memoriam, and then we'll move on to segments, I guess. Yes. All right, so Tarantino has a lengthy thing about Grindhouse. I wanted to read it because it's sort of interesting. I will say, when I saw Grindhouse, they never released the theatrical cut of Grindhouse on home video, which still to this day bothers me. I do not know why they do that. I think it sort of sucks. Like, they should release the full the theatrical cut, but whatever. But he said this. With Grindhouse, I think me and Robert Rodriguez just felt that people had a little more of a concept of the history of the double features and the exploitation names. No, they didn't at all. I'd agree with that. They had no idea what the fuck they were watching. It meant nothing to them, all right, what we were doing. So that was a case of me being a little too cool for school. I will agree. I think that is true. I think no one really got what it was. I had barely, I was too young to have really done the Grindhouse double feature, but it was a fun time in the theaters. He also said this. He said, I'm in London doing press on the film before opening weekend, and I go to Edgar Wright, say, hey, let's go, you and me and your friends, and go see it on Friday night in Piccadilly. So Nira Park, his producer, and Joe Cornish, this sounds like I want to go to this party, and the whole Edgar group, we head into the heart of Piccadilly Circus to see Death Proof on opening day. And we walk in the theater, and there's about 13 people in there on the opening 8:30 show. Oh, man. This was a rather humbling experience, but we all sat down and watched it and had a good time. Edgar was like, he does an Edgar Wright impression, apparently. That was very impressive. I think I would have turned around and walked out of there, but the fact that you said fuck it and sat down, I admired that. So that's true. That's true. I think, but it's interesting he kind of admits the failure. I thought it was a fun time in the theater. You just had to bring beers. If you didn't bring beers, if you don't drink Grindhouse, you didn't get it. Unless you have an alcohol problem, then maybe just have a good soda. Anyway, so there's going to be a 4K. So this is interesting about this 4K. There's a 4K restoration of Jaws. It's supposed to come out on 4K disc or whatever on June 2nd. If theaters are to open and there's a 4K restoration of Jaws and they're going to be playing older stuff, does Jaws get to be one of those movies? Feels like that's a thing that could happen since they've just restored it. I'm just going to throw that out there. I feel like it could happen. I have no knowledge of that happening, but the fact that they've done this, they're putting out on June 2nd, theaters at earliest will open end of June, feels like it's a thing that could happen. I love Jaws. I would gladly, if that's the first movie I see in theaters after that, that would, by the way, answer my saber question from earlier. Absolutely. Apparently, they're already planning season 2 of Cowboy Bebop, of the live action one. I have no date on when that will come out or anything like that, but it sounds like they're very confident on the first season of Cowboy Bebop and feel like season 2 is definitely happening. Sounds like nothing bad is going to happen there. So Darren Aronofsky recently did an interview about Batman, his Batman that he was going to do that was going to be more based on Batman Year One. The thing about this is, so apparently he was going to have Joaquin Phoenix as Batman, and it was going to be a gritty 70s kind of Batman kind of thing. He wanted to be like the French Connection. It's kind of interesting since Joaquin Phoenix was in a gritty 70s Batman sort of movie with Joker. I had always heard that Darren Aronofsky casted Christian Bale as Batman in Batman Begins, and the studio liked that idea and kept it and made Nolan do that. Maybe that's not true. Maybe that's a bit of movie info that I was unaware of. Maybe they said no to Joaquin Phoenix's Batman and went in a different direction. I don't know. But it's interesting that there was a previous other version of a Joaquin Phoenix kind of gritty 70s Batman movie that wasn't the Joker, all those years before. But he really wanted a hard R Batman movie, which he didn't get. And then they went to Chris Nolan and so forth and so on. So the other Batman thing, and this one is interesting. So Nick Pizzolatto, I think he's one of the creators of True Detective, or is the creator of True Detective, went on and on about if he was going to do any superhero thing, it would be Batman. And here's what he said. He said, Batman's no-kill policy is valid and should always remain, but the police do not exist because killing makes me as mad as them or some kindergarten bullshit. That's never held any water at all. Batman's no-kills policy exists because Batman's real and eternal enemy is death. Death is his real enemy. Then he goes on to say, Batman is not some wounded boy. some man-child. This is like his take on the whole iconography of Batman. It's not some man-child who can't get over his parents' death. He's not an arrested child. He's not the Phantom of the Opera. He's not broken in any way. He's the opposite. Batman is not the story of a traumatized rich boy who works out his catharsis for the mentally ill. Batman is the story of how one human saint turned a life-defining tragedy into the pinnacle of human achievement and the single greatest humanitarian crusade the world has ever known. Oh my god, this guy is like crazy. But, oh no, there's more. Hold on. You're going to love this. This is the quote of the night. I almost want this guy to do Batman because it is fucking... Just let me get to the end of this. I'm sorry. Batman's superpower is not money. Batman's superpower is that he thinks of everything. And he has the strongest will of the species. If he had some time to strategize, Batman could credibly defeat God. So, I'm just gonna let that hang there, cause, I really want that. I really want that Batman defeats God comic now. You could do it in one issue, I think. Anyway, this is some ninja shit. Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? It's like so terrible. Anyway. He beat Spawn. Well, there you go. Alright. Batman v God 2022 release. He should. Did he drop the Dragon Ball? Anyway. Alan. Okay. Need some water. Still have a Red Bull here. Okay. So, I have to like tone it down. Alright. So, there are a lot of deaths this week, obviously from coronavirus, but there are a lot of major entertainment deaths, so I wanted to talk about them. One of Steven Spielberg, during his legendary part of his career, cinematographer who shot E.T. and Empire of the Sun, and is a known cinematographer, died of coronavirus. His name is Alan Devallo. E.T. is an amazingly well-shot movie. He did an amazing job. I think what he did on that film will forever be immortalized in cinematic history. So that's a sad death. I think a lot of, Spielberg currently works with the same cinematographer since Schindler's List, which I think is maybe one of his biggest missteps post. I think Dean Cundey was the last DP who shot Jurassic Park. I really wish he would work with more DPs, but when he did some amazing work with them. And what Alan Devallo did with Empire of the Sun, and especially E.T., is straight up amazing. So, just like watch E.T. Like holy shit. Like, has Spielberg ever made a movie as beautiful as E.T.? I mean, aside from the Indiana Jones films, but just amazing. Brian Dennehy died also this week. That was not because of coronavirus, to my understanding. He was an acting legend. People say from Tommy Boy, people say from this and that. I've always known him as a great actor. It's very sad to lose him as well. He's the kind of character actor who I didn't almost send an RIP tweet just because there are like too many emotions I sort of had about it, because I was like not even sure what movie to pick, and I didn't really feel like, even though to my understanding I like Tommy Boy, I didn't almost want to say it. I felt like his career meant more than that. I know he did some Death of the Salesman stuff, but he's a great actor as well. And then Gene Deitch, who was an animator, worked at UPA, worked at countless animation studios, and was a great animator, died as well this week. I'm kind of just doing a section of In Memoriam. To my understanding, like, healthcare is getting harder, particularly for people who aren't really doing that well health-wise, and so that's why, presumably, people have speculated why we're seeing so many more deaths all across the board, not just from corona, from other deaths, because healthcare industry is stretched so thin. So stay inside, by the way. You can watch this if you want. You don't have to. But I mean, I prefer you did, just because I'm doing this. But anyway, that was stupid. Alright, so let's do the segment. Since it's segment time, I'm going to open up a Red Bull. But so okay. So I'm going to do two segments. One is Netflix recommendations. The other is the Golden Arm. So, what I wanted to do, that's true, a big Japanese voice actor died as well. I'm sorry. I am not good at knowing everybody. Wash your water, drink your hands. Nice, right? But anyway, sorry, Ace the Wind Rider. All right. What do you think about Brandon the Bear, a background character from OKKO? I sort of remember that. Anyway, the kid from yeah. Anyway, so I kind of realized last week, I was talking to my brother and he said, what are good movies you'd recommend because we're all stuck at home right now? And I realized when you're kind of a cinephile person and you're into movies, you just sort of recommend 5 movies and you sort of don't care what streaming service they're from. And most people don't actually like that. They want you to go, what is on Netflix that I can watch? What is on this streaming service? So I kind of realized that cinephiles do this thing. They're just like, here's 5 movies. I don't know, because we're just used to like hunting and finding them, and we like the hunt and the chase and so forth. Most people don't want to do that. And I get that. So I kind of realized I should change how I recommend movies, because I should sort of understand how people are consuming movies better. And so what I'm going to do is every movie crap, I'm going to pick a streaming service and pick movies on that streaming service that I think are good movies, some good shows as well, and recommend those. And then when I go back to them next month, I'm not allowed to pick the same movies. So some of these might not still be available next month. Some of them might be. I'm not going to look up all that, and I'm sure Netflix won't even tell you half the time. So I think what'll be cool is just doing this. I think it'll be a cool little project. I probably picked too many this time. I think I might keep it at 5 to 10 for next time. I think next time I might do Amazon Prime. But this is Netflix, and these are movies that are currently, as of me streaming this, available on Netflix. And I just went around and looked at and found interesting stuff. This one, there's like probably too many. I probably shouldn't have shot my wad on this, but we're doing it. So here are movies that I think are good movies to watch on Netflix. The first one is Once Upon a Time in the West. It's one of the greatest films ever made. It's one of the greatest westerns ever made. It's not part of the Dollars trilogy, but it was made right after. It's more of the Hollywood kind of bigger budget thing after that. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is also available on Netflix. But I'm going to recommend this one, Once Upon a Time in the West. If you've never seen it, it has amazing music. It's an overall great movie. Henry Fonda, Charles Bronson, Sergio Leone. I think Dario Argento worked on it. Bertolucci, like a crazy amount of people worked on this film that are great. And it's an amazing movie. It has a great opening sequence. If you are not struck by this opening sequence, you probably don't know movies, but you also will definitely get into it. So that's one of the best films ever made. Next up, I wanted to another film. They have a lot of great Orson Welles things. They only have, they have like 2 Orson Welles movies on here. But one that I think is a good entry point that's not so like, because when you talk about Magnificent Amberson, you're talking about Citizen Kane, you're talking about like these huge, massive, big deal movies. And that's fine. Those are great. Obviously, they're great movies. But one that is more kind of a little more palpable, a little more digestible is The Stranger. It is his only actual hit, believe it or not, that did well at the box office. It's kind of like a simple kind of like spy kind of thriller type thing, but it's good. I've always liked it. And if you've ever sort of just wanted to get into Orson Welles and just have something you could just watch and like and not feel like have all these like, is it the best movie of all time nonsense, that's a great one to do, and no one's going to have a debate with you about it. And you can just go, hey, I saw The Stranger. As well as they have The Other Side of the Wind and the documentary about that film that was shot in the 70s and didn't come out till like last year. They'll Love Me When I'm Dead. That film, I would recommend the documentary. I think unless you know 70s film, I wouldn't watch The Other Side of the Wind. But if you are, I would say do that. Another film. So one documentary that it was on my top 10 last year, 2018, which came out called Shirkers. This is a great documentary about lost media. It's about a woman who shot a film with this guy, an entire film, and it was going to be kind of this cooler movie about like kind of these grifters who were like stealing from people and stuff. I forget the whole plot of the film, but basically the film never got edited and never got made, and then she kind of forgot about it, went through life and tried to like find the film again, and it kind of goes through the whole drama with the film and like the footage she could get back, and there's no sound of it, so you get clips of the movie and like this whole, and if you're into lost media and things of that nature, this is a great documentary. I really liked it for a while, and you should definitely check it out. Another one, High Flying Bird, is a kind of basketball drama. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh. If you're not into basketball, you can still enjoy this. It was actually all shot on an iPhone, which this made my top 10 of 2019, and it's actually a really cool movie. It kind of gets into new media, old media sort of stuff. It actually made me think about a lot of old media, new media stuff after watching it. It really and it's written by the guy who wrote Moonlight, directed by Steven Soderbergh. It shows you that it's not so much the kind of camera you have, it's how well you are at framing, which he is excellent at in this movie. And it's very dry, and if you're not into the sports world, I'm not into the sports world, but I still really liked it, and it's kind of more of a fascinating film. But I would check that out. The other, another one, TV show actually, Kim's Convenience, is a really great, a kind of family kind of sitcom. I really like it. It's Canadian. It's really wonderful. It's about an Asian family who runs a convenience store in Toronto. I think it's Toronto. And kind of their kind of family dramas with that. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. I think it is really cool. I think I'll just do a couple more because I feel like maybe this is getting boring. But I'll just rattle off some. The Wicker Man, the original Wicker Man, is on Netflix. Check that out. I know everyone makes fun of the Nick Cage one, but it was an actual really great movie. You should see that. As well as The Dirty Dozen. I reviewed it back when Suicide Squad and Rogue One were all big and coming out and things like that. And there's a lot of like kind of like group movies, and they're kind of using The Dirty Dozen. It's a great World War II action film. If you really like that sort of thing, or like team sort of movies, it has like, you know, what's his name? Anyway. Oh, man. Anyway, it has a lot of great performances from Jim Brown, Telly Savalas, what's his name? John Cassavetes does a great performance. Lee Marvin. Check. Dirty Dozen is an awesome, awesome movie. One show we've been watching, Sophie and I have been watching actually, is Mystery Incorporated, the Scooby-Doo show. It's more of an older kid Scooby-Doo show. It's not inappropriate, but she likes it and I like it. Mystery Incorporated is genuinely great. The Castle of Cagliostro, which I know I pronounced wrong, Hayao Miyazaki's first movie. If you've never been into Lupin, it's a great entry point because it's just a great action-adventure animated film. It's one of the best action-adventure films I can think of, as well as The Adventures of Tintin is on here. Sam Raimi's Evil Dead is on there. And Into the Spider-Verse, which is one of the best animated films of recent memory, probably the best superhero movie, and definitely the best Spider-Man movie. And if you're really into the Joker, you've never seen Taxi Driver, and you need something to do, see Taxi Driver over Joker. It is amazing. And I think that's it. Did I say Adventures of Tintin's on there? Also, We Bare Bears is on Netflix as well. I know it's on Hulu and on other streaming services in other better forms, but yeah. I hope that, was that good? I don't know. Anyway, so those are my recommendations for Netflix. Those are cool movies to watch that you can check out now. I will try to go back on Netflix and see other things to watch. If I didn't mention something, it is because I'm saving it for next week, but that seems like a good list of movies to check out. So if you haven't seen any of those, you can. When this is a segment video later, the list will be in the description of this video first, as well as reviews of any of those movies that I have done will be there as well. So if you want to check out what I thought of them at the time or whenever, you can. All right, cool. Tintin is underrated. All right, yeah. I have read Tintin comics. I've actually read Tintin comics that the movie is based on. I know Quibi is on Netflix, but, you know. Wait, the seasons are split up between Hulu and Netflix? Ugh, that's awful. All right, so second segment. Here we go. Oh, I didn't know the original Lupin is on Amazon Prime. I might bring that up next week. Okay, so Wild Wild West. Jesus. All right, so there's a lot of talk this week about a Quibi show, believe it or not, called The Golden Arm. Now, I want to specify, this is actually not called The Golden Arm. The Golden Arm is a 3 Quibi episode thing from the show The 50 States of Fright. Now, what is the 50 States of Fright, you ask? You probably don't, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The 50 States of Fright is a series on Quibi where I'm assuming they make 3 Quibis, or episodes, into one story, and each story is a folklore from a different state of America. Now, this one, The Golden Arm, is from Michigan. Basically. I don't know the folklore too much, and I'm not sure if like this folklore is actually from each of these states organically, or like from another part in the world. Most likely, probably is, but we'll just go with it that maybe this is from Michigan or whatever. But it's kind of a crazy story, and I'm going to tell you this story, but it's not going to change much. So it's basically this woman gets her arm cut off because a tree falls on it, and it's really way bloodier. And actually the tree, like, I was like, I could pick up that tree. I'm not that strong, but I could pick up that tree. So he doesn't pick up the tree. He cuts her arm off, because that's the thing you would think when someone's arm is crushed by a tree. But whatever, we're just going with it. And then she wants a prosthetic arm, but since she always demands the best and like way beyond this guy's pay grade, because he makes like nice furniture, and she's like demanding way too much, frankly, decides to make her not just a prosthetic arm, but a golden arm. And she loves this golden arm so much. It's wonderful. People say, that she's a princess, and her prince made her this golden arm because seriously, apparently, like, she really needed that. William Ellman's telling me that Mark Twain wrote this in the chat. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Or wrote a version of it. But anyway, so she loves this golden arm, but finds out the golden arm is actually poisoning her, but she refuses to take it off because she's crazy, and it kills her. And then she makes him promise he'll bury her with the golden arm, because let's just let this guy, die in financial debt. So he needs to get the golden arm back, and like basically grave rob her, and crazy things ensue. This is directed by Sam Raimi and is co-written by Sam Raimi and his older brother Ivan Raimi, who's also an actual doctor, believe it or not. This thing is crazy. But I will say, this is probably the best thing I've seen on Quibi, and the only full story I've seen of anything on Quibi. Sam Raimi, I think one thing he does really great with this story, and one thing I like about Sam Raimi, is he's somebody who likes B movies. He likes 50s B cult movies, but he also likes the kind of like interesting things you can say through those movies. You know what I mean? Like, he gets that like a certain scene might seem quaint and safe, but then he uses that to kind of like making the violence even that much more impactful. So, a lot of this time it feels like a really bad Hallmark movie or something, but he's like doing it on purpose. Like, you can tell this is done by a filmmaker who knows exactly what he's doing. It's probably my favorite thing Sam Raimi's done in a while. I didn't see all of Ashes vs. Evil Dead, so take that into consideration. But it is one of my more favorite things I've seen from him a little bit. It plays like a really well-made Tales from the Crypt episode sort of thing. But I love the idea of like it's such a preposterous thing that that she'd want this golden arm. The whole premise of like it squishing her arm, the whole like idea of it making her go crazy, and then it's played by Rachel Brosnahan, who's more known for Mrs. Maisel, but does a great horror performance in this. And with her husband, this guy whose name I forget, he does. Everyone's used effectively. Everyone's casted really well. And then you have like the guy who works for him, this older black guy, like kind of narrating, kind of telling you the tale in a way, which makes it feel like much more folksy and kind of like sadder and crazier. It's such a weird thing, and I'd almost say it's worth showing up to Quibi to watch, because you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, it is the most cult thing he's done in a while, but I flat out love what he's doing with this, because the whole idea of like playing in the folktaleness of it, playing it almost like like all shucksy sort of Hallmark TV movie, but then having it like kind of collapse in on itself and then veer into that craziness. I think, when I was going through all the nostalgia critic-y things recently, and he's like criticizing Sam Raimi, what I like when he goes into that is he's being incredible. He's sort of being ironic, but you also get that he understands when you're doing that at face value and what you can do with that. And like he melds with B movies in such a masterful way in this that it's sort of just impressive, because he just like goes full tilt into this and into the craziness. But I think he also gets like this golden art thing is fucking dumb, but let's like go through it. And it's just, wow. I really like this thing. I was like, I'll just watch one before I go to bed last night, and I watched all 3 Quibis of the Golden Arm. The 50 States of Fright has 2 more whole stories on there. I think at least one about Kansas, which is not, the other ones aren't directed by Sam Raimi, but the first 3 that are truly something special. It is like a good Tales from the Crypt episode, and I like what Rachel Brosnahan does it. I like kind of like what it says about privilege and the 1%, and the idea that like they will basically die just to have this privilege and just to have this wealth. It doesn't even make sense that she has it. It just makes it like, it doesn't make sense anymore. It's not good for anybody, but she has it and she refuses to let it go. And like kind of like what that says about like right now, everyone's going through this financial crisis and people just aren't helping people out. And the fact that she is willing to just destroy her husband, destroy herself just to have this thing so she can, be this, have this kind of image of herself means so much more than anything else. I think that spoke to me quite a bit right now. And I thought the folktale of it, when you think of old folktales, they really say something about certain things about society, about how people feel about themselves, how they feel about the world and everything like that, and try to give you sort of a moral lesson. I think the moral lesson is both about the husband and wife, that the husband put up with this and let all this happen, but also that the wife herself represents so much more about wealth and the poisonness of that in itself, and how wanting that above everything is actually almost like more evil. Wanting that more than anything is probably, one of the most evil things you can possibly do. And kind of the horror of this whole thing is wealth and the perception of that. And I think, I've seen a lot of things from Hustlers to Parasite to talk about that, but I think this is done in such a wonderful horror way, while also doing it in kind of a weird B-movie kind of cultish way that only Sam Raimi could really do. All right, I like gold. Nice, Bruce Parker. She does say that, doesn't she? Or no, you're talking about Goldmember. What about Goldmember? All right, so let's do... I don't have a Patreon question unless someone did one very late. I think Izzy stopped, but thank you everyone who watched Izzy tonight. I didn't notice the name of the stream. It says, working on stuff while Jim does his thing. That's funny. All right, so if anyone has any questions, let's just answer some questions for a little bit and then call it a night, right? I think that's cool. And how long have we been going anyway? Okay, a little bit. I think this is a good show. What do you guys think? All right, so ask questions away. More money, more problems. It's mo money, mo problems. I'll have you know, Austin. Anyway, if I do not get your question tonight, well, the chat got weird for me. Okay, sorry. If I do not get to your question, go to the Discord. Go to the Ask Jim part of the Discord. I get to everyone, and I will answer everyone's question before I go to bed tonight. If I don't get to it, all right. Ransam Film got the first question. Fave celebrity you met? Sam Raimi was a class act. He acted. He called me his bro in film when I told him I direct. Also, if my film, The Rookie Cops, got picked up by Troma and released, will you consider reviewing it? I will review it. If it's small, I don't know. I don't like to... Anyway, yeah, probably I'll review it. Favorite celeb I've met? I shook hands with James Gandolfini. It was very nice to me. So, but yeah, when your film comes out, sure, I'll review it. Do you have a favorite Ozu film that isn't Tokyo Story? I haven't seen enough Ozu beyond Tokyo Story, so I don't... I need Ozu's a blank spot. I wish at some point maybe I'll get to correct that. Jacob Shelter, would you ever check out the Czechoslovakian Tom and Jerry shorts Gene Deitch did? There's one character who constantly abuses Tom. I haven't. I like Czechoslovakian and Russian animation. It's actually really interesting and really trippy and weird, and I would like to do more of that. I did the Russian Jungle Book a while ago, so I would be interested in that. Maybe I'll try to check that out. I don't know. Not plausible. Is Canada even real? I'm having a hard time believing it. Canada jokes. I think I've been to Canada. It's real. Canada jokes. What is this? What is this? Cornbread, thoughts on businessman Thomas Nook? Some say he's an honest man. Others say he's a capitalist pig. This is a joke question and a reference to something. I feel like I know, but I don't know. So, yeah. Zane Powers, what will happen to Quibi's content if it fails? I don't know. That's actually a question a lot of people ask about streaming service exclusive content. And no one really has a good answer. I'm 100% sure they'll sell it or it'll wind up on YouTube or something like that. But, yeah, that is a good question. A lot of people have wondered that about streaming service content in general. And there isn't a good answer, but it usually winds up on another streaming service, to be honest with you. General Colocton, I guess. What's the best indie movie? I don't see. Okay, here's my problem with the indie movie term. Is indie movie really is only the term only comes from how you were independently financed. So it's sort of like what's the best purchase you can make with a credit card. But I will say that gives you hope for indie films. I would say something like El Mariachi or I would say Night of the Living Dead or kind of more of the simpler kind of films that like inspire you, like Clerks, things like that. I'd say those are the best kind of indie movies because they make you want to make an indie movie. So I'm not sure what the best one is, but yeah. Nathaniel Fogo says, how does your dad feel about the first Dune film? He's okay with it. It's not like necessarily his favorite. I got lost there. I remember watching the director's cut with him, but I don't think he ever felt like he really got the material. Bruce Parker, if you review cards again, will you seek out those 90s Dick Tracy cards? Maybe that'll be a next April Fool's. I usually do a lot of cards. I have these Fiona and Kate cards now, which I've been posting. Oh, here's the one I posted actually on Twitter. So I always have cards with me because I always have something I'm fiddling with. So, but I would be down if I can find Dick Tracy cards. I would be into that. Question, would you rather a robotic arm or a parasol tail? I like my arms, so I would prefer neither of those things, but I guess maybe a robot arm? I don't know. What are your favorite newspaper comic strips? Probably Calvin and Hobbes first. I would actually say Bloom County, which obviously I looked up when I worked on the Marsden's Mom's thing, and Far Side. Let's say Far Side. Austin, do you think a community movie will happen? No, I do not. Maybe since it's so popular on Netflix, since they do seem to like Joel McHale, but I don't think Dan Harmon's doing that at this point. What's your favorite thing to talk about in our water segment? From Ransan Film, I guess it is. I guess it was fun just talking about Pink Flamingos. That was fun. So, but yeah, I didn't know that was up, Ransan Film. If it is up, I will. I'll post it at some point tomorrow. Jacob Shelter, what are your thoughts on Peacock? I think it could work. I think it'll be interesting to see having that many streaming services if they will work, but I think since it's attached to Comcast, it'll probably work regardless of all that. Zane Powers, have you ever had an encounter with an incel? What was it like? A lot in high school, and I kind of just distanced myself from all that. Courtney asks, what do you order from Chinese restaurants? I guess you mean Chinese food restaurants. General Tso's chicken, egg roll, soda. I'm boring. Cornbread, I've noticed that the crap is now uncensored. What's up with that? I realized it wasn't a censoring thing I thought it was, but it was another thing, and it's been corrected, and we're fine, basically. Sorry, I didn't update you on that. What makes a movie a cult movie from Jordan Salafalo? I would say a film that, like, an audience itself independently kind of showed love for and grew out of the love people have for that movie, and it wasn't made by a major studio. Some people say it's a movie that thought was going to be successful and like a major film and didn't become one. Others have other qualifications about it, but I think I would say that a film that thought it was going to be bigger than it was. Okay. Not plausible. Do you see a drive-in theaters making a comeback in these uncertain times? Yes, they have, and I talked about it earlier. They definitely have. They absolutely have. Frank Clark, getting Polyester tomorrow on Criterion. What other John Waters films do you recommend? Well, obviously Pink Flamingos. I like Crybaby a lot. Hairspray is really great. Pecker. Desperate Living. I think that's everything. Yeah, let's go with those. Fine, those. I'm just going to say those. Tannerlands. Which director do you think has the most mixed bag filmography? My personal pick would be Gus Van Sant. I would say Ang Lee is a little all over the place. Ron Howard People like that, where it's like, I really like some of them, and others like I'd much rather not do. Even Sonnenberg, who I love, has a bit of a mixed bag as well. I'd say those guys. TuneJ723, with more WGA writers moving to animation since live action shows are shut down, do you think animation writers will fight to get WGA union membership? I think the idea that everyone's like, you can just work on an animated show, you can't just like show up and be like, I'm a writer, I'm great. You'd have to pitch a show. It's like, it's a whole process. I thought that was very speculative of all of them. Just write for anything kind of thing. That's not necessarily going to work, and I don't think it'll work for a lot of writers. So I thought it was a little stupid, to be honest with you, that whole thing. And I think more animation writers will probably get WGA union membership, but I'm sure there'll be all sorts of political bullshit. So that was a dumb thing to say, frankly. The Westerner, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, but how do you feel about the Clone Wars finale and the possibility of Ahsoka and the Mandalorian? I don't really know Clone Wars that well, and I should. I would like to. I like Ahsoka from the little I've seen of her. I would be cool with her in the Mandalorian. Apparently, Rosario Dawson says the deal with that is not done, which is weird because I think they finished shooting season 2, so I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I'm fine with her being in there. I think it would be cool. Ryan Wilson asks, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Not sure. Zane Powers, what's your least favorite trope of war movies? Probably the machoism and then religion. Oh, that's cool, William Elman. What is war good for? Probably absolutely nothing. Okay. Question, have you ever watched Parks and Rec? I have. I liked it to a point. I don't think I got as obsessed as everybody else, but I did like it. What's your worst movie theater experience? When I saw Spider-Man 2, which sucks because that's a good movie, people would not shut up, and it wasn't until like towards the end of the movie that this bigger guy got up and like screamed at these teens to shut the fuck up. And that sucked because that is a great movie and they sort of ruined it for me the first time. So that sucks. Zane Powers, do you get your Chinese food from Panda Express? No, and never. I've eaten there, but there's none around me, and I wouldn't do that. There's much better places around there. Question, what top 100 best films list do you recommend? That's a good question, Disco Spider. I like the AFI list from the 90s. Is actually pretty good. I think my problem with any list is you shouldn't follow it to the letter at all. But I think the AFI list covers the best of film history, but I don't think all those movies are great. I just think like after you've seen everything, you'll sort of know the ins and outs of it. And if I would just go through it and see like what films got on the next one and which films didn't, you can sort it out from there. I think the AFI needs to do another list. I don't see why they haven't. I feel like this is the time. But I think those lists are good. I think they're good of understanding American film, but I would also say the Sight and Sound list is good as well. But the AFI list is good. It's just like once you've seen them all, you know kind of not everything about film history, but you get a good summation of it that you can like go around and like understand, like shoot off from different areas from it. I don't think every one of those films are good, but what is your least favorite film from your favorite director? From Nathaniel Foga. Least favorite film for the favorite director. I don't know. That's a thinker. Oh, Tomorrowland. Yeah, let's go with that. Have you seen Shark Boy and Lava Girl? I have not, but I know he shot that during the day when he shot Sin City at night. So I have not seen that. Best live action version of an X-Men character. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, of course. What's the biggest kaput you've seen pulled? Cop Out. Blah. The ending of The Devil Inside. Austin, again, what would you do if Linus ruined your dream journal? Be very upset. Okay, question. What hobbies do you have outside of movies, entertainment, etc.? Not many, to be honest with you. Probably just making videos. If you were in a cult, what would it be like from Zane Powers? I think it would be, I don't know. I would get bored of that. I would be like, God, you guys just like, hey, Optimus Rimjob's here. Do you think Rumble 2021 will be a proper return to the film for the actor Creech? I hope so. Zane Powers, what were we gonna get? Another Lone Ranger reboot? If we're getting, I don't think we're touching. I think Lone Ranger is much past of that. Do you think NYCC will be canceled since it's closer to the end of the year? There's a possibility it doesn't, but I don't think it looks good right now. I'll put it that way. Let's see. Disco Spider, what are some underrated comedy movies? I always liked Cedar Rapids with Ed Helms. I always felt like that was actually really good. And I'll just throw that one out there. I don't know. I can't remember it now. Who are the people in your neighborhood? Nice, Ryan. What's Lucas Tillman up to? He's been. You asked me this already, but he's been chilling. He's been chilling. You know, he hasn't really been doing much. We don't really talk that much anymore. It'll be in Son of the South. Okay. Let's do a couple of these. What should Comic-Con interactions be done in the style of Nintendo Direct, Twitch panel, or Reddit? I think they should do something with Comic-Con and all these things, but I would say doing the streaming panels I think could be good. I don't know how you would do it other than that, to be honest. All the experiences you can't really replicate, so I think they should just do as many panels as they can. Do like kind of live stream things where you get like trailers and scenes, and maybe make an exclusive. Maybe they pay for it so you make some sort of revenue. That could work. How much credit would you give to Ron Howard for Apollo 13 success, seeing as how most of the lines were just taken directly from the real Apollo 13 transcripts from Not Plausible? I think that movie is actually fairly good. I don't think just because of the script element of it. I think the way it was directed and the way he cast it, an amazing cast, everything like that. So, yeah. I agree with Toon J723, local Chinese food restaurants for the win, yes. Have you shown Sophie's Cats Don't Dance? No, and I haven't seen it in I don't think I've seen it. Did you get Chinese food from Lucas Till? Well, he still works there, so yes. All right. Okay, here, 1 point. One from Frank Clark, and that'll be the last one. Growing up, my father loved Westerns and was turned off to it because my parents was into it. Was there a certain genre of film that left a similar impact on you as youth? I would actually also say Westerns because no one properly really explained them to me. Yeah, I would say Westerns. There's certain music my parents would play a lot that I kind of just got sick of just because they overplayed it. Stuff like that. But Westerns I didn't properly get, and I saw The Searchers way too early, and then when I saw more Westerns, I really loved The Searchers. So, stuff like that. All right, so that is it for Movie Crap. This past week, I didn't put out as much stuff as usual. That's because I've been working on this thing that will come out Tuesday at, let's say, 11. I think it'll be a premiere, but I will let you know. I'm still working on it. But what did come out, there was the Adrian Sierra interview that came out earlier in the week. There was the Trolls World Tour review, and there was the review of Quibi itself. So, yeah, that was the thing. So, anyway, thank you. Also, I would say, Saber's review of Mars Needs Mom. This week, there will be I'm not sure if the Netflix recommends thing will be a video or not. We'll see, but I know the Golden Arm thing will. And then there will be the thing on Tuesday, which is How Did This Bomb? And then after that, I will have my own review of Mars Needs Moms later in the week, and then other stuff. Also, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you're all being healthy. Please help out anyone you can in your neighborhood. Anyone who needs help, contact anyone you know who's older or is disadvantaged in some way, and see if you can go to the grocery store, clean, just their porch, because they want to walk out there and they're afraid because the delivery boy came out and you have gloves and they don't or something. Just text people who you live around, make sure they're okay. Things like that. Reach out to friends who you haven't talked to in a while. This is a tough time for everyone, and it's good for everyone to be doing that. But I would especially say the grocery store thing. If you know anyone who's older and you can do their shopping for them, just hit them up, work out an arrangement, get the right stuff. It's interesting going to the grocery store for someone else, trust me, and all that. So anyway, thank you all everyone do well. I'll talk about it next time, I guess. Anyway, you all have a good night, and stay well, and I will see you all next time. And subscribe. I guess that was it. Thank you very much for watching, and subscribe if the page lets me do it. Hold on. Sorry. It was going to be all subscribe if you would like to. Is that it? No? I'm just hanging out.